the elite athletes, the Usain Bolt, the Brittany Reeses of the world, they've got this much more I can eke out, right? We've maximized their genetic potential. They've been training. I had those guys for 4 Olympic Games. It's 20 years. I mean, we got everything we could out of them. Anybody else outside of that has massive amounts of performance improvements that can be yielded from something like this. The niece of our head of research and development was a non-competitive high school swimmer, meaning she'd never been on the podium before, but was there to try as hard as she can, compete with her team, give everything she had. Still was not able to make it onto the podium. We gave her the gel. She used it one time. She was on the podium in every race. And that's as impressive as seeing the Olympic record get broken and fallen, because we don't have to improve performance much to do that. It's still more difficult than improving the performance in the ladder, but it is incredible what this stuff can do in any age athlete. Anybody that's capable of pushing hard, and you reach that age right around 11, 12 for most, sometimes a little bit earlier depending on genetics. But once they hit that point, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Or if you're one of those parents that has a child that's uber focused, which obviously I recommend multiple sports, not hyper focusing, especially overhead pitching athletes. But let's say you have a child that's year-round sport, plays multiple sports or plays the same sport, is constantly going. It's a great way to help with the recovery, to make sure they're not overtraining and leading to some of those youth sports injuries that we're seeing in clinic, that a lot of my surgeon friends are having to repair. If you look at the peer-reviewed literature, the increased rate of Tommy John surgeries in teenagers is astounding. So it can also be utilized to prevent that, because you minimize the impact of sport, you minimize the impact of day-to-day training on the muscles and joints by using the product regularly. That's one of those benefits that we typically hear more about than the performance side from the elite athletes, because running faster is great, but unless you got a stopwatch in your hand, you may not even notice it. But everyone notices when they're not sore and they're able to train at a higher level every day, especially when you earn a living with your body. So when you take that and you apply those in the non-elite athletes or the competitive elite athletes that are teenagers, it's a career game changer. I mean, it was such a powerful tool for National Hockey League teams. The number one players in the world in hockey love this stuff. And if you're a hockey fan and you watch the Stanley Cup Finals the last, I don't know, 4 years, you're going to see the world's best players with Lactigo right behind them in the dressing room, pre-game, on camera. What that led to was a lot of inquiry from those NHL teams. The NHL, the Players Association, the athletic trainers, and the coaching staff voted to make us the official performance and recovery gel of the National Hockey League. That's not something you can buy your way into. And so now the visitors teams are provided Lactigo into the locker room for every single game throughout the entire league, throughout the entire season for the National Hockey League, because that's how much it's valued. They want to get it on their bodies before they go hop on that plane and put their bodies through all that pressurization and all that stuff that's going to happen in the biochemical milieu that's coming there. If you can apply that to an athlete who's at the beginning stages of their careers and set them up for a better health and wellness and competition, that's a game changer over time as well for the ability to have a longer career and to be healthy, picking up and playing with their grandkids. That's a central focus of what we do at the lab and why we have our protocols. Is we want our athletes healthy. We want them to dominate competitions and win medals, but we care more about them going on and continuing to have a normal life post competition, from sacrificing their body the way an athlete has to in order to be successful. So if you can improve any of those conditions in your young athletes, why would you not? Especially with the price point that pales in comparison to anything else that you can do. And look at what it would cost if you did cryotherapy or anything else that barely moves the scientific needle and requires my mind to know how to utilize and protocol it. If you go longer than a minute and a half, you could potentially damage the nervous system in cryotherapy, and then it goes from a recovery tool to something that makes athletes not be even able to compete. And we've seen foot drop and all kinds of stuff from localized cryotherapy. So this is a way to save from having to spend bundles of money on cryo and hyperbarics and injections of B12 and all these other things that all have decent evidence, but require you to pack them all together the way we've done for our athletes to move the needle. And guess what? Lactigo moves the needle further than that by itself. And that's what you were alluding to earlier when you asked me to compare it to the protocols that we have. And I would say it's not a comparison. Lactigo smokes it. I mean, there's nothing, we can't stack together enough, you know, therapies for these athletes to see those type of benefits in the body.